Hello everyone, today I'm going to be doing a quick lightsaber review. I'll show you guys a few of the lightsabers that I have acquired over the past few months, including the Legacy Lightsaber found at Disney parks, along with some other high-end lightsabers made by some companies that have sent me some pretty sweet stuff. So I'll show you guys the differences between each of the lightsabers, and I'll tell you guys my opinion on which ones I think you should get. In today's video, I will be looking at the Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber sent to me by Neopixel. I'll look at some budget Ahsoka lightsabers sent by Sabers, the Clone Wars Ahsoka lightsabers by Sabers, and the reforged Anakin Skywalker lightsaber by Legacy Lightsabers found at Disneyland. The first thing that we're going to be looking at is the case. So essentially what the lightsaber comes in. Each of these companies, I believe, have different cases that they send. These, however, are just the cases that they sent me. First, we see Neopixel sent a nice little briefcase with 3 latches. Pretty nice, not too big, not too small, and holds the saber pretty well. Sabers, I believe because it was more of a budget lightsaber that they sent me, it is more of just a box that they have the lightsabers in. And Sabers, I was most impressed with theirs. It's a much bigger briefcase. And what's cool about these is that they have a lock. So I haven't changed it, still 000, but you can change the lock. So if you're a cosplayer and you're wanting to take a lightsaber on a flight, you can lock these up, check this, no one will be able to touch it, and your lightsabers will be safe in this. So Sabers sent that, pretty cool. It says, "May the Force be with you" on the back. So it's definitely most impressed with Sabers, with their briefcase. Neopixel, that was also really cool. And once again, if you are getting a budget saber, it's probably gonna come in something like this, just something to keep in mind. The Legacy lightsaber, you buy the hilt and the blade separately. So when you buy the hilt, you get a little case like this. It looks pretty cool, good for presentation, but in terms of carrying the hilt and the blade together, that's just not an option. So this is the Legacy lightsaber from Disneyland, and these are other high-end companies that you can buy from online. Next, we'll be taking a look at the different lightsaber hilts, and I'll be talking a little bit about the pros and cons of each and a little bit of the pricing. So we'll start with the Legacy lightsaber. This is the reforged Anakin Skywalker saber. I bought it at Disneyland. It was discounted, so it came out to be just over 100, 120 probably. But then, like I said before, you have to buy the blade separately. So this, along with the blade, came out to about 180. The Clone Wars sabers from Sabers, I believe they're selling for about $450 would be my guess. I think they were discounted at the time, but the price is always changing. So those were about $450. Sabers, these are kind of like the budget Ahsoka lightsabers. They have the marking of the Ahsoka sabers, but they're not curved like from the show. They sent 2 of these, and I'm only showing one because they're exactly the same. These you could get for about $250, I believe. And last, Neopixel sent me their Obi-Wan lightsaber, and this one is probably priced at around $400, $450. So that's about the price for each of them. I may be wrong. The price can change and has been changing over the last little bit. So just something to keep in mind. So one thing that they all share is they all have that kind of metal heft. As someone that does 3D printing, I have made saber hilts in the past, and that's the one thing that's hard to replicate. It's hard to replicate the feel, like the coldness, the weight of a metal hilt. So that's really nice, and why I prefer having hilts like these as opposed to 3D printed ones, because it's really hard to replicate just that feel when you're 3D printing. They all have that heft, they all have that nice finish. In terms of the finish, I guess, the Legacy lightsaber, it doesn't leave fingerprints like a few of these others do. The Ahsoka Clone Wars ones from Art Sabers feel like would be more of a display piece, but it leaves your fingerprints all over. Yeah, you can kind of see right there. So it's kind of nasty. You don't really want that. So that's something that you just have to worry about, is that if it's something that you're using consistently, it's gonna leave those fingerprints. The budget end Sabers one don't do it as much. The finish isn't as shiny, so you don't have to worry about that. But then similarly with the OB1 lightsaber, it leaves a little bit of fingerprints on it. So that is something to keep in mind. Then in terms of charging, the Legacy lightsaber, the bottom unscrews and you just put in, I believe, AAA batteries. That's how you replace that and make sure you have power to keep lighting it up and using it. With the other companies, they come with the cables and they're rechargeable. So instead of comparing the companies against each other, I guess, because the companies sell different lightsabers, and if I were to just conclude and stereotype all the companies' lightsabers based on what they've sent me, that won't do it justice. So each of the lightsabers that a company sells are different. The methods of charging them are also different. Some are easier, some are harder, and whatnot. So like I said, batteries for these are pretty simple, pretty cheap, but the rechargeable battery is nice in each of these lightsabers. They all have it at Neosabers, End Sabers, and Art Sabers. Some are easier to charge than others. So as you can see here, they put in a nice little spot right there, so you don't even have to take apart the hilt. So you can just plug it in, charge it, nothing has to be taken apart. Super nice. In the same set, however, they sent this, and this one is actually a lot harder to charge. You have to take the entire thing apart. I've only done it once. I couldn't tell you how to do that right now. It's a whole process, but just something to keep in mind. With the more realistic replicas across companies like these, you just might have to work a little bit more to be able to charge it, be able to use it. So keep that in mind. If it's just a display piece and you're not using it a ton, then you're not going to be charging it a lot. So that's something you don't really need to worry about. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. Sometimes they'll adjust the model accordingly and make it easier. Sometimes they won't. This one's pretty easy. You just unscrew the bottom and there's a little plug-in right there. And same with this. This one is a little bit different. You unscrew the bottom, pull out a little rechargeable battery, and then there's a little unit that you put the battery in and recharge it. So a little bit more hassle than just plugging it in, but something to keep in mind, yeah. So all of them are different, but all of these are similar in that they have rechargeable batteries. So once again, you're probably going to want to display it, and these are the different stands that came with the different lightsabers. So Legacy lightsaber from Disneyland, your display is essentially the case you bought it in. It is cool. It gives it a nice look, nice feel. It's a nice case, but that's what you'll get with the Legacy lightsaber. With the other companies, they're all pretty similar. Art Sabers didn't have a little badge with a company name, whereas End Sabers and Neosabers did. And I believe End Sabers and Neosabers, it's almost the exact same stand. So if you buy from a company, it's probably gonna be something like this, if I had to guess. And once again, the companies can have different stands for different lightsabers, so don't assume that everyone's gonna be the same. So the next thing I wanna go over, and probably the most important thing to consider when choosing which lightsaber to get, is the blade that you're getting. So all the Legacy lightsabers have the same blade. You guys will see how that looks in a second. In terms of the higher end companies that sell lightsabers, most of them offer baselets, which doesn't look super impressive, but you can use that for heavy dueling. I'm only showing one of the company's lightsabers because all of mine are Neopixel, and that's what I'm gonna show you here, and how it looks in comparison to just the Legacy lightsaber. There's a big difference, which is why I suggest you get a Neopixel blade. You're not gonna be able to do as heavy dueling, saber dueling if you're into that, with the Neopixel, because it might break it since it's the entire blade that lights up. So it looks really good on camera, and you guys will see that here in a second. But once again, I didn't notice a huge difference between each of the Neopixel blades between Art Sabers, N Sabers, and Neo Sabers. So that's why I'm only showing one, because I think the quality between all of them is pretty similar. But yeah, in terms of securing the blade, you have a little Allen wrench and you secure the blade like that with the different companies' sabers. Whereas this one, you kind of just shove in and twist and it's secured that way. So let's see how they look when they're lit up. So I closed the blinds, it's still day out, so it's not gonna show up as nicely as it would at night, but it should still get the point across. The Legacy Lightsaber, there's only one way to light it. Each lightsaber is different, but that is the Legacy Lightsaber. Now for the Neopixel. What's cool, you can light it up in different ways. You can twist it or just press a button. So it's still daytime, but as you can see, there's a huge difference between those two. So yes, the Legacy lightsaber is cheaper. You're paying less, and it shows. That's my honest opinion. So if you're looking for a really sweet lightsaber, I suggest looking at one of the companies that I've suggested. There are a bunch of companies out there that sell the Neopixel lightsabers, but huge difference. And not only that, this lightsaber can only light up blue, but these lightsabers, after the third party Neopixel blade, N Sabers, Art Sabers, all those companies, you can switch the color of your blade. So I lit up blue for both just to show the difference, but I can do this red, yellow, purple, whatever color I want, I can switch it, and I can change the way it ignites. I can change how stable the blade is if I want it flickering. So there's just so much you can do with these lightsabers. It's incredible. It kind of makes these look pathetic. Once again, that's just my opinion, but there's a huge difference between these lightsabers. It's hard to even compare. So just something to keep in mind when you're looking to buy a lightsaber. So in conclusion, my thoughts on what lightsaber you should get. If you have a kid that really wants a lightsaber that is high quality and metal, I suggest getting them this. You're not worried about it. If you're a collector or a Star Wars enthusiast like me, go to one of these companies, N Sabers, Neo Sabers, Art Sabers. Find your favorite lightsaber. Like this Obi-Wan, they had two different variations. They had the clean version, they had the weathered version. I wanted the weathered version, so you can kind of see the chipped paint right there. So love this lightsaber. It's probably my favorite lightsaber because I'm biased and I love Obi-Wan's lightsaber. But my wife, she loves Ahsoka. So getting the Clone Wars lightsabers from Art Sabers was huge. She's obsessed with these. So find your favorite lightsaber. And I prefer the more screen accurate lightsabers. So that's just my opinion. But if you're wanting something that looks good on camera, it's a little bit easier to wield, doesn't have like these sharp, pointy metal areas that are gonna dig into your hand when you're flipping the blade around and stuff, you can get something like this. It's a simpler design, it's not screen accurate, but it still gets the job done, and you get it for a cheaper price. So once again, N Sabers doesn't sell just these budget lightsabers, they also sell the high-end Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Luke Skywalker, all these characters, and they attempt to be as screen accurate as possible. So my recommendation, if you're looking to invest in a lightsaber, don't drop $200 on the Legacy lightsaber. Pay a little bit more, like $300, maybe $400, to get your favorite lightsaber with a Neopixel blade. That is my recommendation. So thank you N Sabers, thank you Neo Sabers, and thank you Art Sabers for sending me these. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it clarified a few things in terms of the differences between the Disneyland lightsabers and other companies that sell high-end lightsabers. once again, I highly recommend going with one of these companies, getting a Neopixel blade. It looks incredible on camera. It's fun to swing around. It's fun to customize the colors and sounds and all that. So that's my recommendation. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you liked it, please like and subscribe. It really helps and it motivates me to make more content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.